Calling, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Calling, guys. Talk to me nice. Calling, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. Happy Monday. I hope that you all had a really, really great weekend. Oh my gosh, Halloween. I I guess I want to say happy belated Halloween. The games on Friday were sensational. I watched pretty much all of them. I didn't get to watch all of them in real time, but I was watching like 2 or 3 of them at the same time, and that was pretty fun. But, I hope you guys are doing well. Do me a favor as you load into the stream, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Share the video on your social media with your friends and family and help me grow the sports tea community. But again, good morning. Welcome in. Like that video, guys. I see Ace of Rage is already here. Image 1812. Nice to see you guys and happy Monday again. So let's just jump right into this Michael Jordan topic. Obviously, his load management comments have just taken the sports media world by storm. Michael Jordan has been going viral. He is been, I guess, the talk of the town as far as just what we're looking, to talk about as far as, okay, well, who said this? Who said that? We're looking to Michael Jordan. The sports media world is in shambles right now. Some people are loving it. Some people are hating it because of the shift. The shift is going toward Michael Jordan, the nostalgia of the league of the 90s. So Colin Cowherd had some really interesting comments surrounding Michael Jordan's load management comments. I personally really, really enjoyed watching the herd on this particular day when I saw this. And I want to play it for you guys and I want us to react together. I felt like he nailed it in, the best way possible. And here we go. I'll play it for you guys now.
Michael Jordan is part of NBC's coverage for the NBA now. And he called out load management. Load management, for the uninitiated here, is when mostly star players just decide, I don't want to play. I'm tired. I don't like it at all. There's things about the NBA I love. I've been watching it since the early 70s. I can't stand load management because I grew up in a small town 3 hours from an NBA arena, and I got to go to a game about every other year. That's what we could afford. And I wanted to see Jack Sigma, and I wanted to see downtown Freddie Brown. And so you're driving to the arena and your stars aren't there. So I don't like it, and there's no data to prove that it works. So between the 90s and 2020, we went and looked. The average number of games missed in the 90s by star players, 10 a year. It is ballooned to 24, 2.5 times. And there is no medical benefit. The NBA did studies on it. There is no medical benefit on sitting. It's all nonsense. So in the NBA media, which in my opinion tends to be too accommodating to star players, won't press players on it. Now, LeBron, as we show a picture of LeBron doesn't bother me. LeBron's been carrying the league for 15 years. It's more the Kawhi thing. And what I really think load management is, it's selfish. Sort of like what Terry Rozier did, or Damon Jones, or Chauncey Billups. It's selfish to do that. Throw your teammates under a bus to make $10,000. The basketball culture is a lot of me and not a lot of we. And it's why the NBA is so popular on Instagram. Instagram is a look at me platform, and it's wildly popular for NBA players. Is it narcissists checking out narcissists? I don't know. But Adam Silver admitted we are a highlights league. And what that tells you is the fans are load managing NBA viewing. You're not going to commit to us, then we won't commit to watching 3-hour games. And so I don't think there's an individual to blame. I mean, Greg Popovich was doing this years ago. He didn't like the NBA schedule and all the back-to-backs. But I would say what the irritating part of load management to me is the All-Star break is now longer. There are almost no back-to-backs. So the league has bent over backwards to extend the All-Star break, have fewer back-to-backs. I'm okay with old guys missing games or injury-prone guys like Embiid can miss a game. LeBron doesn't want to play back-to-back. Barkley didn't want to play back-to-back end of his career. I'll give those guys passes. But young stars under 33, 34, what are we doing here?
Colin Cowherd absolutely cooked. And I mean, just to get started straight off the bat, listen, people save up hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for those tickets. They plan a whole night around it. Mom, dad, the kids, maybe it's their first game ever. And when they get there, the star they came to see is resting. That's not just disappointing, that's disrespectful. We're not talking about injury management. We're talking about load management. Guys taking nights off because they're tired, because it's the second night of a back to back. Michael Jordan would hear that and, I don't know, probably laugh. He played 82 games multiple times. He played through the flu, through pain, through everything, because he knew people came to see him. He knew he was a showman, an entertainer, a competitor. I mean, Jordan said it best, if you're healthy, you play. And that's the difference between his era and now. Back then, you earned respect by showing up. Nowadays, it's like being on the court twice a week. I think Michael Jordan understood the business side, that every ticket sold was sort of like a contract with the fans. You're paying to see me. I'll be there. I'll give you everything that I've got. That's pride, that's honor, that's responsibility. Today, it feels like some players see it as optional. I'll play when I feel like it. Well, guess what? I mean, the fans, we don't have that luxury. They don't get refunds when you sit out. They don't get a rain check on their experience. And it's just kind of like, oh, we're saving him for the playoffs. Okay, but what about the people who support you all year long? What about the kid in Cleveland who's never going to see you in the playoffs, but saved up his allowance to watch you that one time? What are you going to tell him? Sorry, man, I had to rest. Jordan didn't care about managing minutes. He cared about managing legacy. He understood that every game was a chance to build his name, his brand, his myth. That's why 30 years later, we still talk about him like he's a god. Cowherd's right. I think, greatness, it isn't built on conservation. It's built on commitment. I just think, for me, Colin Cowherd nailed this one. And I mean, absolutely drilled it like, I don't know, primetime Steph from 35 feet. He said what needed to be said. Michael Jordan is right about load management, and it's time everybody stops pretending otherwise. Because let's be honest, this whole load management era, it's turned into the most polished form of selfishness we've ever seen in professional sports. You've got guys making 40, 50, 60 million dollars a year sitting out national televised games because they didn't sleep well, or the data suggests they're fatigued. Give me a break. When MJ said, I never wanted a fan to pay for a ticket and not see me play, that wasn't just a flex. That was a creed. That was a standard. That was a mindset built on respect for the game and for the people who make it possible. Colin's right. This generation treats availability like it's optional. Guys aren't just resting their legs, they're resting their legacy. You can't build a legend when you're hiding behind a training staff's iPad. And here's, to me, where it gets even deeper. Fans are load managing too. We've hit a point where the average viewer looks at the NBA schedule and says, why should I care in November when half the stars don't even suit up? It's the natural consequence of selfishness. When the players stop caring about the regular season, the fans will follow. Colin put it perfectly. Basketball has become a lot of me and not a lot of we. That line, I think it should be engraved on every locker room door in the league. The modern NBA has become an exercise in brand management disguised as team competition. It's not about the win. It's about the optics. It's not about sacrifice. It's about selfies. And he's dead on about social media too. The culture has shifted from I play for my team to I curate an image. these guys aren't competing to win rings. They're competing for engagement. Look at me. Look at me. It's a parade of narcissism disguised as highlights. And while everybody's chasing views, the viewers themselves are checking out. Back in the day, MJ treated every game like it was the last one that a fan would ever see, because sometimes it was. That's why people still rewatch his old games like it's scripture. There was a sacredness to his effort, a responsibility to perform. You didn't load manage your way into greatness. You earned it night after night, sweat after sweat. Today, it feels like the league is more concerned about rest days than record books, more about body maintenance than basketball immortality. And MJ's message through Cowherd's, I feel like through Cowherd's mic, it's a warning. You can't inspire a generation if you're too busy preserving, your hamstrings and your body consistently. So yeah, MJ's right. Colin's right. Load management isn't a strategy. It's selfishness. It's selfishness basically with a medical excuse. And until players start seeing the fans as more than just a background noise for their brand, the league's going to keep losing what made it special. The NBA doesn't need more rest days. It needs more responsibility. It needs more we. It needs more MJ, quite frankly. But that episode of The Herd, it continued. His co-host, he pushed back on load management and mentioned how it could work for players and how he would have loved to see Michael Jordan play, 20 years, even though we just heard Colin Cowherd say it. There's no evidence. The data doesn't suggest that this helps anything. There's no suggestion about that there's any kind of evidence that it's going to help win a title. Think about the guys load managing. Are they winning titles? I don't see it. But now the question is, would we have wanted to see Michael Jordan play for 20 years? Should Michael Jordan have load managed? That is, I guess, that was the debate happening on The Herd with Colin Cowherd's co-host. I forgot his name. I think he used to be engaged to Joy Taylor, though. Maybe it's Mikey something. I don't know. But he was on Fox as well. Here is their back and forth exchange, and I thought that it was really interesting. We'll react to this together as well.
I like Michael Jordan's belief, which is just play 82 games, play hard, give it everything, steak and potatoes every night, literally cards in the back of the plane, burn bright. I think I'd rather have the Marlon Brando career, which is like 7 hits, handful of bombs, not a bunch of B-level hits. I would rather go big shots, end quickly, be a legend. Your argument with Michael Jordan is he should have load managed.
100,000%. Colin, he played 13 seasons with the Bulls, 2 with the Wizards. He only played 15 seasons. Now, we could argue, hey, man, maybe he burned too bright. If he didn't do 82 games a year for 5 straight seasons, we would have had more Michael Jordan. LeBron's about to start whenever he gets healthy here. You're 23. I think it's smart to play 65, 70 games a season and extend your career by, 7, 8 years. I mean, Colin, honestly, you wouldn't want more Michael Jordan if it meant, hey, man, sorry, you're not playing in November against the expansion Hornets. Sorry, you're sitting out of February back-to-back. Like, that's just smarter basketball. We're getting more Steph Curry. Steph Curry's going to have a longer career, by like 4 or 5 years than Michael Jordan. Like, that's insane.
It's a really interesting because obviously what makes Brady great isn't sheer talent. It's longevity and production over those years. But when people look at, a lot of people are like, well, Dan Marino or Aaron Rodgers, and I've always said that Tom was a lot more talented than people give him credit for. He had an elite arm, elite brain, big, strong, drafted by a Major League Baseball team. Tom was a much better athlete than anybody gave him credit for. He just wasn't nimble. He grew up in the pocket world, in the pocket era, and he was the best pocket quarterback of all time. But it's interesting. My take is the greatest legend in the history of the Dodgers is Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax had like 3 unbelievable years and 3 other great years. He's the greatest. I mean, in the Dodgers history, of all the Dodgers, Koufax is the ultimate legend. He had a very short career. I mean, don't even count the Washington years. Basically, Michael had just 2 great 3-year runs, and he's the biggest basketball legend. If you look at the greatest actors, it's not about this catalog of performances. What are your 4 best movies? You could even throw in stinkers with Brando. So I think in the entertainment space, legends are made on great, not extension. They're not made on volume. They're built on what were you at your best. Ohtani in the last week has had 2 of the greatest games ever by a baseball player. If Ohtani retired at the end of this season, he would still be called, he's the greatest baseball player of all time.
That's because we never get to see them age and struggle, right? I mean, they're the great pop culture. Marilyn Monroe is a big-time legend. James Dean. These guys, we never got to see them in their 40s or 50s. You know, they're in their prime, and that's how we remember them. All anybody remembers is Jordan's prime. Do they remember the Washington Wizards years? Because, by the way, LeBron's flourishing as an all-NBA player in his 40s. And the Tom Brady argument kind of kills that. Like, Brady played forever. I mean, there's people who think Brady could suit up now and go out there and get a team into the playoffs and, I don't know, maybe make a run to the Super Bowl. Like, LeBron is always going to do that, and I wish we had more Jordan. I wish he hadn't quit twice.
By the way, who's the best running back of all time?
Probably Barry Sanders, right?
Retired at 30. Sandy Koufax, retired at 30. Now, Koufax played for 12 years in the Bigs, but he had like 6 straight years. The best pitcher, the best running back, retired at 30. So, by the way, they got their pension, they got money, they're still legends.
The highlight reel. Yeah.
Everything. So, you know, I don't know. I love Jordan's brand was best basketball player ever. Nobody cares about the years. I mean, I would argue that there's LeBron fatigue right now. Like, we're all kind of like, bro, it's whatever. I mean,
he's putting up 25, 5, and 5, or whatever the numbers are.
I'm not disputing it, but he's about 70% of what he was. What I don't want to see is old LeBron. Like this year's team, the owners have already made the deal. It's Luka's team. Everybody.
I get that. What do you mean you don't want to see old LeBron? Lionel Messi is thriving in MLS right now. Okay, he just signed a new deal.
No, but the difference
he's
is,
still playing.
Yeah, he's a goal a minute. He's different. He has taken the lead. I mean, he's the best player when you see him on the field. He's still unbelievable. LeBron's not a top 5 player. I don't mind that he's playing. He's still very good. I don't want to see him playing in 3 years. I don't want to see LeBron in 3 years. I like that. Now, it's not my decision. Go for
it. The tide is turning, guys. The media is shifting. Okay. And this is where people have it twisted. His co-host said that MJ should have load managed so that he could play for 20 years. I almost spit out my coffee when I heard this, because that right there, that's the modern mindset talking. The one that confuses longevity with legacy. Colin's absolutely right. Greatness isn't about extension. It's about excellence. It's it's about how long you do it. It's not about how long you do it. It's about how well you do it. Not how long, how well. And when it matters most. Nobody talks about the guy who played 22 years averaging 11 points. They talk about the guy who gave you a decade of dominance, 6 rings, and never lost when everything was on the line. That's the difference between a career and a legend. MJ didn't need 20 years. He gave you 15 seasons of the most intense, uncompromising, laser-focused seasons the game has ever seen. He didn't load manage his way into immortality. He earned it by showing up every night, every city, every possession like it was personal. That's why his brand still hovers over the sport like a ghost. Because he didn't just play basketball, guys. He pushed it. He didn't chase years. He chased moments. And those moments, the flu game, the shot over Elo, the last dance. These moments are why his name still outshines guys who've played twice as long. So no, he shouldn't have load managed. That would have been an insult to everything that made him MJ. He understood that greatness is about intensity, not infinity. You don't need 20 years to be timeless. You just need to be undeniable while you're here. As Colin said, it's not about catalog. It's about the classic. MJ wasn't trying to extend the album. He was trying to drop the masterpiece, and he did 6 times. And I'll leave you guys with this. One of the biggest mic drops that Colin Cowherd had out of this take was that he'd much rather MJ's solid career. He'll take those 13 years over 20 some odd years of mediocrity. It's about what you do when you're here, not how long you do it for. not how long you can be mid, not how long you can score 25 and 5 for. So guys, I do want to move along to the next topic because something that Colin Cowherd said made me want to talk about it. I didn't talk about what Conehead Adam Silver said about a month ago about the NBA being a highlight reel, but he said it, and it really ties directly to load management. And I figured that we need to cook on this a little bit. So, Adam Silver, obviously, he made these comments about the NBA being a highlight reel. And I don't know if he meant to say that or if he just got caught up in the moment answering and he's not very good at answering questions on the fly that maybe he's not prepared for. Even though you should be prepared for something like this, you would think as the commissioner he would be prepared. He's also a lawyer, which he never forgets to tell us and never forgets to answer us in the most lawyer way that we can mistrust in someone. So, I want to share what he said at a press conference. He was asked the question about NBA fans and how limiting the access to games has, like, how does he think that social media and the lesser access of games is going to, shape the future of the NBA fan base? And so here's what he had to say.
It's become very expensive to watch the NBA as a fan, not just going to games, but also to in order to, there's different streaming services you have to subscribe to. Some of the RSNs are expensive. I'm curious if, I know that there are other points of entry for fans to interact with the NBA. There's social media, and a lot of younger fans, that is how they're experiencing the sport. But I wonder what you think, how much you think about that and how that will shape the next generation of fans.
I think about it a lot. I will say, I saw the story your publication ran of you took all the different streaming services and added them up and what those costs would be. I will say I look at it a little bit differently because most people can only consume so many games. I just want, by way of one example, in these new media deals, we're going from essentially 15 exposures on broadcast television to 75 now. So, to the extent somebody wants to put little rabbit ears on their television, you can still get, therefore, 75 marquee games, in essence, for free in the marketplace. I'd say in addition to that, and this is an ongoing issue for the league, there's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. This is very much a highlights-based sport. So, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, any service, the New York Times for that matter, to the extent that your content is not behind a paid firewall. There's an enormous amount of content out there. YouTube, another example that is advertising-based that consumers can consume. I think this is a new world now of streaming media. I think we're paying a lot of attention to that. It was one of the discussions we had with our media partners. I think not just the cost of the games. I think most people are conditioned to paying a certain amount for high-value content, but also the discovery of those games. Again, I'm a fan of many different sports, and I think we've all had that experience where you're going to Google to find the game you want to watch because the world's changed. It's not just automatically in the place you thought it would be. So, but ultimately, I'll talk about it in terms of reach, and how you reach your consumers. It's interesting because of the disruption in the regional sports network business. I never would have predicted this was coming 10 years ago, but a lot of our local games are moving back to broadcast television. In fact, we have more games on broadcast television locally than we've had any time in recent history. So, we're continuing to look at it.
Adam Silver, he's a disgrace, guys. Adam Silver is a complete disgrace, and it's almost like he doesn't realize what he said, but he did. But oh man, he really makes me angry. Adam Conehead Silver. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Adam Conehead Silver has officially turned the NBA into a glow-in-the-dark carnival ride. The man called his own league a highlight league. Like that's something to brag about. That's not a league. That's a clip show. This isn't the National Basketball Association anymore, guys. It's the National Algorithm Association. And the worst part, Adam Silver seems to be proud of it. He's smiling on camera, talking about how social media drives the game, how the highlights are what keep the league alive. Newsflash, Conehead. Newsflash, Conehead Commissioner. The game is supposed to drive the game, not Twitter clips, not 12-second Instagram reels of step-back threes. Adam Silver has taken the soul of basketball, the sweat, the contact, the competition, and traded it in for trends. He turned defense into a foul, toughness into a technical, and heart into hashtags. And don't even get me started on the gambling mess. The league is dancing with the mafia like it's the final scene of The Goodfellas. Sportsbooks sponsoring every timeout. Play-by-play announcers reading off live odds. And we're just supposed to pretend that that doesn't compromise the integrity of the game. We're just supposed to pretend that, right, guys? Please. It's time for the commish who actually cares about competition. It's time for a commissioner that cares about that. Someone who understands that fans pay to see heart, not hashtags. Someone who knows that basketball is supposed to be a battle, not a brand. And there's only one man fit for the job, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. MJ wouldn't stand for this nonsense. He'd bring back physical defense. He'd hold players accountable for sitting out games. He'd restore the edge, the fear, the fire that made this league great. Adam Silver is presiding over an entertainment product. Michael Jordan would reignite the sport. He already has. And until this happens, until he's fired, the NBA will keep losing its soul. With Adam Conehead Silver at the helm, the NBA will continue to lose its soul one viral clip at a time. Now, he obviously caught fire for these comments, and he was on some platform being asked about it. And here's what he said in response: more word salad, more lawyering from Adam Silver, and he's a goddamn liar. Look at him lie straight on camera like no problem. Because everything's supposed to be a highlight reel, right? Probably nobody even watched the interviewer ask the question, and that's what he's assuming here. So let's watch this together, and we'll react together.
This is very much a highlights-based sport. Want to clarify that?
Yeah, I honestly, probably don't have the question with you. I mean, the question, a portion of the question, the end of the question was about the impact of social media. That's what I was answering on our sport. And what I was saying in a very positive way, and I think it's additive to those who watch our games live and increases the likelihood that they'll watch our games live. By saying highlights based, I meant, when I watch the traditional sports center, and they have the top 10 plays and 5 of those are NBA plays. I'm like, yeah, I'm not thinking like, oh, damn, like more highlights are being promoted from our league. I mean, conventionally, the reaction that was like, that's really good. It's a live game full of highlights. I mean, by definition, highlights aren't necessarily past tense. I mean, like when the NBA games are packed with action, and I guess it was misconstrued, but the point I was trying to make is that there is this community of social media followers, frankly, globally estimated at roughly around 2.5 billion people connect with the NBA in some way. Any brand, any programming source would love to have those 2.5 billion people. Now, I think the challenge for the league office, and this is something I've been talking a lot about with my colleagues internally, is how do we then ensure that we're converting a highlights-based fan, for example, to a live game viewer. By no means we don't want it to be a substitute. We're not going to probably have, especially because of time zone issues when you're a global sport, it's going to be highly unlikely that everywhere in the middle of the night, people are going to be stopping and watch our games. But to me, it's something, as I said, that like now that with these incredibly exciting moments, how do we demonstrate to our fans that they don't want to miss them live?
He just keeps lying. He just told us a bold-faced lie about his comments. Adam Silver is out here doing verbal gymnastics like he's auditioning for, like he's auditioning for the Olympics. He gets asked a straightforward question about the skyrocketing cost of watching NBA games and how fans are being essentially locked out of the product that we built. And somehow he ends up talking about social media conversion rates. Give me a break. The man wasn't asked about clips. He wasn't asked about views. He was asked about fans, the lifeblood of the league, and he changed the subject. He told that woman that he wanted to talk about social media, like a politician who just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. This whole highlights aren't a replacement for live games. Our job is to turn those social media views into viewers. That whole line, it's corporate nonsense, guys. It's the kind of thing you say when you've lost touch with reality, but still want credit for being innovative. Here's the truth. Adam Silver knows exactly what he's doing. He's turned the NBA into a paperclip experience. Okay, let's just tease the fans with a few viral moments, then charge them premium prices to actually watch. It's like selling people the trailer and calling it a movie. He wants to convert views because he's already converted the game into a product line. And the biggest insult, he's saying this with a straight face, as if he's doing fans a favor. Whoop-dee-doo. That's not transparency, guys. That's called gaslighting. The question was about access, about cost, about whether the league still cares about the everyday fan. His answer showed exactly what we already knew. He just doesn't. This is a man who has allowed gambling to creep into every corner of the sport, who's turned defense into a crime and competition and into content. And now he's trying to sell us on the idea that highlights drive growth. Please. The only thing highlights are driving is distance between the league and its fans. Adam Silver doesn't need a microcosm of the problem. He is the problem. He's a polished salesman, not a steward of the game. And it's time that he was held accountable. Honestly, it's time. The NBA needs a commissioner who understands that fans don't want conversion strategies. They want connection. They want affordability, competition, and honesty. Adam Silver has shown he can deliver none of the above. He needs to be exposed, removed, and replaced by someone who cares more about basketball than brand partnerships. Because right now, I got to tell you, Adam Silver is running the league like it's a streaming service, and fans are getting buffered out of the game. That's what's happening. So I am curious to know what you guys think about all of this. Drop me a line in the comments. I mean, what is the NBA hiding by making the game less accessible to fans? I genuinely believe that this is why the game is turned into a highlight reel, so that they can hide the deficiencies in the league, the deficiencies of the play on the court. These players are just not as good as they used to be. We're looking at, a much lowered bar, and that's because it's a highlight reel. We're not supposed to see real games. We're not even supposed to see them. They want to hide the games from us, so we don't know just how bad the product actually is. And if you confuse us, oh, well, you got to go here to watch. We just won't watch. And then we'll turn to social media. And none of this has impacted the views. The viewership on broadcast television hasn't actually impacted the money the NBA is earning. So they don't care. And that's just the long and short of it. But I want to go into the next topic, guys. And I want to talk about someone who knows a little bit about hustle, grit, and joy, and getting beat up, okay, in the paint. That's Shaq Diesel. Shaquille O'Neal, he recently made some comments about Dirk Nowitzki, and I thought that it was really an interesting conversation, really short. He was on his podcast, The Big Podcast, with Zach Randolph, and Randolph was naming off his power forwards that, he really enjoyed, and essentially Shaq shut it down. Another conversation where he's chatting with Reggie Miller, he shut it down that Dirk was a power forward as well. So I want to play this for you guys, and then we'll react together.
A power forward?
Yes.
No, the fuck he's not.
I know rings matter.
Rings don't matter.
Rings matter.
You have to be a mean guy to be a power forward.
I easily could have put Dennis Rodman in that list.
How many does Charles Barkley have? How many rings?
0.
Oh, how many does Dennis have? 5.
You do know KG goes both ways. Not that. He doesn't go both ways that way.
What?
I'm putting another current player. I'm putting Giannis on there.
I'm done. Are we done here? Can we go?
A power forward?
Guys, I thought this one was funnier, so I didn't play the clip from the big podcast with Zach Randolph. That was a good clip too, but no one was circulating this one around, so I just decided to share this one with you guys. But essentially, he said the same thing to Zach Randolph, same situation, and he didn't even let him finish his list. He was like, we're not going to call Dirk a power forward. That's not his real position. So, guys, let's talk about this Shaq tape. And you know what? I agree with the big fella on this one. Shaq said Dirk Nowitzki wasn't a real power forward, and honestly, he's right. Now, before everyone in Dallas grabs their torches and stat sheets, let's just clarify this whole thing. Dirk was great. I'm not insulting him, and I don't think Shaq is either. Now, he was great, okay? He was revolutionary, I think, in fact, but he wasn't a true four in the classic sense. Let's keep it real. When you think about power forward, you think grit, you think elbows, you think low block violence. Tim Duncan, that's a power forward. Kevin Garnett, power forward. Zach Randolph, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, that's a power forward. That's contact. That's physicality first. Finesse second. Dirk was something else. He was a 7-foot shooting guard, essentially, trapped in a big man's body. He changed the geometry of the floor. He made the mid-range and the trailing three cool before it was cool. He didn't bang. He flowed. Dirk's game was pure artistry, footwork, balance, and that one-legged fadeaway that defied physics. He didn't impose his will like Tim Duncan. He evaporated defenders like Durant. He was a matchup nightmare, not a post-up menace. And that's what Shaq's getting at. The term power forward has the word power in it. And it has the word power in it for a reason. Shaq's from that old school lineage where you establish real estate in the paint and paid the mortgage in sweat. Dirk, on the other hand, he was out there leasing condos beyond the arc. It doesn't make him less great. It makes him different great. Dirk was the prototype for the modern stretch four, but honestly, his game was closer to a 3 than a 4. He was more Kevin Durant than Tim Duncan, more elevation than power. So when Shaq says Dirk wasn't a real power forward, he's not disrespecting him, guys. He's not. What I think is he's just defining him. Dirk changed the role. He evolved the position so far that he essentially created a new one. Dirk wasn't a power forward. Dirk was Dirk, a 7-foot small forward, in my opinion, with a jumper so pure it broke defensive schemes and hearts alike. So yeah, Shaq's right. Dirk wasn't built like Duncan or Zebo. He was built like a sniper in a big man's uniform. And sometimes being different great is better than being traditional great. But I don't want you guys to get it twisted. Whether you call him a 3 or a 4 or a 7-foot shooter from another planet, Dirk Nowitzki I think he's still, some sort of Mount Rushmore material on some list of some sort. He's just not on the same mountain that Shaq and Zach Randolph are talking about. He's just not on the power forward mountain. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. Drop me a line in the comments. Salute to everybody in the chat, by the way. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and share the video. Share it on your social media, share it with your family and friends. But now I want to get into our last topic. This one's really exciting for me because on Halloween, like I said, I watched so many different games, and I really just kind of want to talk about those games because they were really, really cool to me, especially the Knicks. They had the back-to-back with the Bulls, not back-to-back, but they played on Friday and then they got to avenge themselves on Sunday. So I do want to get into that with you guys because it was just really fun, honestly. So we're going to talk about these games. Which one first? Let's get into... Okay, why don't we talk about the Lakers game? Why don't we talk about Lakers, the whole Ja Morant drama? That was like a lot of drama, guys. That was some real tea to sip on because, Ja Morant is just always into something. And it's unfortunate because he's so good. That commercial that he has dunking the ball, looking like a modern day Air Jordan or something, it's just insane. And to think that we're not going to get much more of that on the court from him, it's a little bit upsetting. And it just feels like his career is constantly being derailed of his own doing. And so we're going to talk about Ja Morant first. Let's get into that first. And obviously Blake Griffin criticized him. It was not good for Ja Morant. It really wasn't. And just let's talk about the game, though. So why don't we do that? Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about, the 117 to 112 win that the Lakers had. The Los Angeles Lakers, I mean, they outlasted Memphis, by 5 points. And let's just say they were pretty evenly matched. You had LeBron off the floor. So I felt like it was a good enough even matchup. But what I will say, and let's just say this game, I felt like told us more about the Grizzlies and more about Ja Morant than it did about the Lakers and where they're at as a team. They're, what are they, 4-2 now? So salute to the Lakers and the job that they're doing without LeBron James and some games even without Luka Doncic. But I felt that this game told us a lot more than the box score because it wasn't just a game. It was more of a vibe check. Luka Doncic looked like a man playing 3D chess. Okay. Austin Reeves proved that he's ready for more. I think that he's been proving this. And, Ja Morant, let's just say the post-game presser spoke louder than his jumper did. The return of the Luka show, first off, welcome back, Luka Magic. After missing 3 straight games, nursing what the Lakers called a finger sprain and a left leg contusion, which is just a bruise, Luka Doncic came back like he just took a weekend at a wellness retreat. Refreshed, refocused, and absolutely ruthless. 44 points, 12 rebounds, and what do you have? 6 assists, I think? Business as usual, okay? But let's be real. This wasn't about recovery. This was about rhythm management because at this point, Luka's not injured. Luka's calculating. Missing 3 games with a finger sprain, that's not rehab. That's load management at its most luxurious, guys. He's managing the number of games he plays so that when he does suit up, it's must-watch television. He's conserving energy not for October, but for June. When he's on the court, I think he's really controlling the game. He manipulates the tempo sort of like a composer. Every possession is very deliberate. Every read is almost telepathic. The man's not playing basketball. It's almost like he's conducting a symphony. And, I used to say that Luka was tired, he's winded, he's fat. And I think that in some ways he still is. But this season, he's playing less tired and he's timing. And this performance, I would say that that's the payoff of his load management. The 44-point games, the, very much so Laker, sort of box office vibe. Austin Reeves, let's get into him. He's been in this game kind of like the quiet engine now. While Luka was out, he was cooking, okay? Austin Reeves quietly had himself a night, okay? 21 points, steady, can't guard a parked car defense, clutch buckets, all with the kind of composure that makes coaches trust you with the keys to the car. Reeves isn't the loudest guy in the court, but he's that player who keeps the engine purring. When everyone else is sort of just overheating, he's very mature, he's consistent, he's hungry. But here's the kicker. I honestly think he's being held back. And yeah, You guys know where I'm going with this. LeBron James. Now, respect where it's due, right? I mean, LeBron sort of kind of put Austin Reeves on in a way, but it's clear that this offense moves differently when he's not on the floor. Without him, the Lakers look free. They move, they cut, they flow. Bron's dealing with the sciatica, and honestly, it might be time to start thinking about a softer landing for the King because Austin Reeves is ready. Luke is already the focal point. The next evolution of this team doesn't include LeBron being the sun that they orbit around. It just doesn't. It's not shade. It's just the natural sunset of greatness. And, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers front office makes a business decision before the trade deadline. So now when we turn our attention over to Memphis, where the energy went to die, okay? Let's just say that. Let's talk Memphis because, baby, this one was rough. The Grizzlies out-rebounded the Lakers 42-40. They had 28 assists. They even matched the Lakers in points in the paint. But the difference wasn't stats, okay? It was spirit. They looked flat, detached, like a group still living off the echoes of Grind City instead of embodying it. And at the center of that fog was none other than Ja Morant. 8 points, 3 of 14, 7 assists that felt more like stat padding than playmaking. Ja wasn't just off, he was absent. And when the final buzzer sounded, he didn't exactly redeem himself in the press conference either. His monotone voice repeating, ask the coaching staff, ask the coaching staff. I mean, it's just disgusting. And I want to play that for you guys, okay? I want to play that for you guys so that you guys can see it and see the behavior that basically got Ja Morant suspended for a game. I didn't think it was cute. Let me know what you guys think.
Shooting 0 for 7 and was not happy with the coaches in his post-game interview.
What went wrong for you today?
Go ask the coaching staff.
Do you feel like, there was anything you could do differently, I guess?
You ask them. They had a whole spiel in here, so.
From the outside, and the outside may be wrong, but from the outside, it didn't look like you had your usual energy tonight.
Go ask the coaching staff why.
Okay. You feel like you should play more?
Go ask the coaching staff. Should I play more or not?
What could have been done different to get a different outcome other than asking the coaching staff?
According to them, probably don't play me, honestly. That's what basically the message was after, so it's cool.
The coaching staff message was it?
It's cool, man. We good?
You didn't have anything physically wrong in terms of illness or anything?
Oh, no,
you were
I'm
under
good.
the weather.
Ja Morant. Like I said, he did not redeem himself in this post-game presser, okay? And look, like, I get it, I don't know. I actually don't know if I get it. That was painful to watch. Asking the coaching staff, for every question, I got to go ask the coaching staff. Okay, we get it. Ja Morant doesn't want to be there anymore, likely. Okay, he just doesn't want to be here anymore. That was painful to watch. Okay, and look, I get it. Losing sucks. Emotions run hot, but that's not what leaders do. That's not frustration. That's detachment. That's the kind of post-game energy that gets you suspended, which, of course, is exactly what happened. It's not leadership. It's not. The league had to step in, not just to discipline him, but to remind him your voice matters more than your vertical, because the team follows his tone. And right now that tone is off key. So just to, recap this game, the game to me wasn't just about a win and a loss. It was about identity. Lucas showed us control. Reeves showed us growth. And Ja Morant showed us turmoil. The Lakers looked like a team evolving. The Grizzlies looked like a team unraveling. And, Blake Griffin, he does go and criticize Ja Morant quite heavily over this, and I want to talk to you guys about it. I'm not going to actually play the sound because there's some like live game footage in there, and they like to block videos when they can hear any NBA stuff in the background. So, his comments were very much so, and we'll get into it. But basically, John Morant, he had this ugly night, right? This ugly night against the Lakers on Halloween, nonetheless. And Blake Griffin, I mean, he didn't hold back one bit. He called out John Morant's effort, his leadership, and his body language. And honestly, he had every reason to do so. This wasn't just about missed shots or turnovers. It was about energy, accountability, and what it means to be a franchise player. Let's break it all down. I mean, the Halloween nightmare, it was awful. Okay. I would say when you think about how Ja looked on the floor, just very deflated, very flat. This was a perfect chance for John Morant to make a statement against the Lakers. Instead, Memphis got out-hustled, out-muscled, and flat out focused. And what you see, that score just doesn't tell the full story. It doesn't look like they got beat that bad, but they looked lifeless out there. And for John Morant to be the supposed leader, the heartbeat of that team, that's a bad look. He finished with poor shooting, defensive effort. And I'll tell you guys what Blake Griffin said. So he says, and I quote, "For a guy that's making $40 million and supposed to be the leader of the team, I just don't love it." He didn't stop there. He also pointed out multiple plays where John Morant looked disengaged, didn't close out on defense, didn't fight through screens, and didn't communicate. Blake's words, I think that they hit hard because he wasn't talking about talent. Ja's got talent in spades, right? He was talking about effort and accountability. And when Blake says that's something that has to change, he's not just talking to John Morant. He's talking to the entire locker room. The leadership question, here's the uncomfortable truth about that, guys. John Morant is not just a scorer. He's the face of the franchise. He's the face of the franchise. When you're the star, the tone setter, every move you make sends a message. When you hustle, your teammates hustle. When you sulk, your teammates slump. It's not just about points or highlights. It's about leadership in the trenches. Blake's critique wasn't disrespect. It was a challenge, a wake-up call, because when you're supposed to lead grown men, adults in a locker room, you can't pick and choose when to show up mentally. Every possession counts. Every possession counts. But I want to move on to the next game that I thought was really, really interesting. And that was the Clippers and the Pelicans. And, Kawhi Leonard at this point makes me absolutely sick. Okay, I can say that. He makes me sick, guys. Let's just start with the Clippers Pelican game on Halloween as well. That was a great basketball game. Kawhi Leonard, he hit a buzzer beater, 34 points, classic mid-range clinic. Okay, Clippers win 126-124. Because of Kawhi Leonard in the buzzer beater that he hit. The building's rocking. Obviously, for a brief moment, it feels like Kawhi is back, fully healthy, fully dominant. But if you zoom out, the game was more than a win. It was symbolic because Kawhi's entire career right now is like this paradox. He's elite when he plays, but he barely plays. And that's the core of the frustration. Okay. Now, the Pelicans actually played really well. They shot 49% from three. Zion had 29. Jordan Poole had 30 points. They did everything. Sorry, guys, I have like a piece of hair stuck in my face. They did everything. Okay. When you have Jordan Poole pulling up for 30, seems like they did everything right offensively. And they still lost because Kawhi and Harden just executed. So you walk away thinking if the Clippers get this version of Kawhi consistently, they're a title threat. But that's the word, consistently, because for 5 years, that's been the issue. The Clippers' problem isn't talent, it's trust. You never know when Kawhi is going to be there. And when Colin Cowherds said load management is selfish, That wasn't an attack on players' health. It was about the relationship between stars and fans. Okay. And Kawhi Leonard sticks out the most when we think about load management and the relationship between stars and fans. Fans spend hundreds, sometimes thousands on tickets, hotels, parking, food, jerseys. They don't pay to see the logo. They pay to see the players. And when stars sit out, not for injury, but for maintenance, that's a broken social contract. Michael Jordan played 82 games, 9 times. Kobe played through a broken finger. These guys believed availability is greatness. And the frustrating part with Kawhi is that it's not like he's washed, but the inconsistency has damaged his credibility. And now, with this aspiration deal, it adds a new layer of doubt. Let's be factual. According to reports from ESPN, CBS Sports, and The Ringer, Kawhi signed a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal with Aspiration, a company linked to the Clippers owner Steve Ballmer's business ventures. I was conned. The NBA is investigating whether the deal constituted salary cap circumvention, right? They're investigating that supposedly. They're probably doing some fake investigation just the same way they investigated Terry Rozier. The allegation, unproven, but it's pretty serious, right? And I mean, it's basically the arrangement that, they may have indirectly funneled additional money to Kawhi beyond what's allowed under his player contract. And if that's true, and we'll get the investigation details, right, that will play out eventually, that would be a major breach of the NBA's financial integrity rules, okay? But even if it's not, even if it's just a weird coincidence that all of this is going on, it feels bad. It feels bad to NBA fans because Kawhi's image already lacks transparency. He doesn't talk to the media much. He doesn't explain his absences. And when something like this happens, fans connect the dots on their own. Because believe it or not, we're not stupid like NBA players believe that fans are. That's the real cost of load management, though. It's not just about missing games. It's about eroding trust. Kawhi Leonard could have been the face of the league. 2 finals MVPs, a two-way monster, incredible discipline. But what defines a superstar isn't just performance. It's reliability. You take a look at Steph Curry, LeBron James, Giannis, you know that they're suiting up. And they might have load managed, but not to the extent where they're defrauding NBA fans. Yeah, they might take games off to preserve themselves for the playoffs and whatnot. But I mean, Kawhi Leonard with several years basically without playing. He's a scam artist. He's a con artist. And now, conveniently, he's playing every game. Kawhi is the opposite. He's the guy fans gamble on buying tickets for, only to find out 45 minutes before tip that he's out. That's not just frustrating. It's disrespectful to the consumer base. It's disrespectful to the fans that fund this league. So yeah, when Cowherd said he'd rather have MJ's short, brilliant career than a longer one full of rest days, he was absolutely right. Legacy, guys, legacy, and hear me very clearly, legacy isn't built on longevity. It's built on dependability. And Kawhi's story right now feels like one of unfulfilled greatness. The buzzer beater was awesome. Okay, it was cool. No one's denying that. But a single moment doesn't erase years of absence. If Kawhi wants to change the narrative, he can't just show up for highlights. He's got to show up for the grind. Every Tuesday night in January, every back-to-back game, every game where fans are counting on him, because ultimately, that's what separates the legends from the talents. Jordan didn't just win. He showed up. Kobe didn't just score. He showed up. If Kawhi wants to reclaim that level of respect, it starts with consistency and transparency, not another buzzer beater. Because no matter how much the shot felt good, no matter how much that shot, that clutch shot happened and it was so great, right? You can't manage your way into greatness. You can't load manage that. Kawhi is a disgrace to the league. But I want to know from you guys, are Kawhi's knees mysteriously healed as he's gotten a little bit older? Are they is it a mystery? So now he had no elasticity in the knees for years, but now all of a sudden it's back. Maybe he grew some cartilage. Who knows? Absolute disgrace. Now, guys, I want to move on to the last game that I want to talk about. That's going to be my Knicks. You see, I have my Knicks Kith jacket on, okay? You know, my Knicks are competitive again for the last couple of seasons since Jalen Brunson have joined, and it's so exciting. You know, it's just so exciting. And, you know, I want to start with the obvious about Friday's game, and let's just start with the obvious. Josh Giddey, yes, the Australian wonderkind, put up a career-high 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. One board shy of a triple-double, right? He controlled the game like a seasoned vet or something like that, you know? That's what I would say. I mean, Josh Giddey, he was sensational for the Bulls. Okay. So he was in control of the game. He didn't look like a 22-year-old out there with good hair and better handles. Nikola Vucevic, this man 26 points, 7 rebounds, soft touch inside, and laser passes out of double teams. You could tell he's been waiting for this kind of game. And then there's Dosunmu. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I call him Ayo. He came off the bench, 22 points, 9 assists, energy for days. It felt like every time New York got close, Ayo hit him with the not-so-fast bucket. The Bulls now stand, well, as of Friday, they stood at 5-0, okay? So their best start since 1996 when Michael Jordan was there. How incredible is that? When, you know, a Mr. certain Michael Jordan was in town winning his 5th ring. But let's give Coach Billy Donovan his flowers. That's win number 200 with Chicago. And he's got these young guys playing with a veteran confidence. It's honestly impressive. And, you know, I want to talk about the Knicks. They fought, but it felt like a struggle session. New York showed fight. Don't get it twisted. Our floor general, Jalen Brunson, he's our rock. Okay, he put up 29 points with his signature mid-range, the mid-range magic, and patience under pressure. The man was trying to will the team back. Okay, he was trying to will them to a win. OG Anunoby, 26 points, 5 of 7 from 3. He's been cooking lately and looks comfortable in his role. Karl Anthony Towns, Cat, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and a whole lot of grit despite that nasty fall on his hip. He fell bad, guys. You can tell he's still adjusting to being the big in the big city. Mikal Bridges dropped 23, solid, smooth, efficient as usual. But here's the thing. Individually, they were fine. Collectively, though, they looked disconnected. The ball movement was lagging. Rotations were late. And the energy felt fragile, like they were thinking about playing well instead of actually playing well. The Knicks hit 18 threes and shot 49.5% from 3, but Chicago just shot better. They shot over 50%, 53.6%. That's the difference between execution and excitement. Chicago looked like a team with a plan. New York looked like a team with good intentions and I would say bad timing. Okay, so that was the Friday game, and Sunday's game. I thought it was great because obviously the Knicks came back. Okay, so they redeemed themselves in style. They redeemed themselves with a statement win at the Garden, and let's talk about it. I mean, they got their redemption story, and it couldn't have come at a better time because after that embarrassing Halloween loss in Chicago, where they looked flat, uninspired, they came back to Madison Square Garden and made a statement. We're still that team. That's what they said. The Knicks took down the Chicago Bulls 118-110, front of a solid crowd that was starving for energy, and they got fed. Okay, they got fed. Streets needed a body, and they brought it to New York. Jalen Brunson was the star of the show. 34 points, 9 assists, and just total control from start to finish. He didn't just play point guard. He conducted a symphony. Every pick and roll felt purposeful. Every drive into the lane had intent. When the Bulls tried to climb back in the fourth quarter, Brunson put his foot down and closed the door. Okay? OG Anunoby, the new face of the Knicks defense, put on this master class. He held DeMar DeRozan to just 5 of 15. Oh, wait, hold on. Who did he hold? Who did he hold 5 of 15 shooting? I'm saying it wrong. Wasn't DeMar DeRozan. Who the hell? He was lit. I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but he held somebody to 5 of 15 shooting. I don't know why I'm thinking DeMar DeRozan, but I just feel like his impact doesn't always show up in the box score, but you feel his presence on like every switch, every rotation. Okay. He's kind of like a silent enforcer on every title team. Okay. And then there's Josh Hart, 17 points, 10 rebounds, and a whole lot of hustle. Okay. I mean, the man was everywhere, diving for loose balls, attacking in transition, setting screens like a forward, guarding like a cornerback. This was, I would say, his best season, his best game of the season so far. Couple games in, obviously. And the Knicks really wanted to avoid losing 4 straight games. Okay. That's what they wanted to avoid. And I believe that they were able to do that. You could feel the difference. The team looked connected again, communicating on defense, moving the ball, celebrating each other's success. It wasn't just about avenging a loss, though, guys. It was about restoring identity. This Knicks team looked like themselves again, hard-nosed, unselfish, tough. They didn't fold when it got tight. They executed. They trusted each other. They looked like a team that learned from failure and decided to never feel that embarrassment again. I mean, they're at home. They had to win. So let's call it what it is, redemption, pure, unequivocal redemption. And they avoided 4-game loss in a row. Okay, so we don't want a 4-game skid in New York, but I do want to say that I'm not impressed with my Knicks this season, guys. So yeah, I'm wearing the jacket. I love my team. I love New York. Shout out to Harlem. Salute to everybody there. And salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for streaming this with me. And like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I want to play one last video clip for you guys, and that's of Draymond Green just basically shitting on my Knicks. He's sitting up here saying they're not a contender. He just doesn't believe in them. And here he goes. We'll react together.
Also, and still moving around the association, I know in the last episode, a lot of people mentioned 3 teams that I didn't mention as contenders, were the Knicks, Rockets, and T-Wolves. And I think for me personally, the Knicks, I just don't believe that they're contenders. I don't think they have what it takes to win at the highest level. I think you can stifle their offense and make it hard on them. And I just think ultimately, also on the defensive end, you got like anytime you have a couple guys on the floor at the same time that's really key guys and don't really want to defend, it makes it tough to win at the highest level. And so that's kind of my question with the Knicks.
And there he goes. Draymond Green, of course, the lovely Draymond Green. The talented Draymond Green, talented at podcasting. But ladies and gentlemen, Draymond is never one to miss a chance to shake the table. But here's the thing. He's not wrong, okay? When Draymond said the Knicks aren't contenders, it wasn't shade. It was just facts delivered with attitude, right? Because right now, New York isn't playing like a team that believes in itself. They're playing like a team trying to convince themselves that they belong. That's what's happening with the New York Knicks. The behind the scenes that we don't know, Rick Brunson getting fired. I mean, the coaching change. New York fans are still processing that coaching change. They fired a guy who took them to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. And now Mike Brown's running the show and they look worse. I like Mike Brown's defensive mind, but his system is structured, precise, very San Antonio school of discipline. That's what I would say. The Knicks, however, they're chaotic good. They thrive in energy and spontaneity, in runs that feel like they're born from street ball. Mike's trying to install some sort of like order into beautiful chaos, and right now the result is static. And don't think we didn't notice the firing of Rick Brunson. That's Jalen Brunson's father. That's family business. That's a locker room ripple effect waiting to happen. You don't fire the father of your franchise star and expect zero vibrations. Jalen's too classy to let it show. He's too professional. He's a machine out there, but anyone who's ever worked under new management knows that shift in energy. These guys are adjusting to a new voice, a new staff, a new vision. And sometimes before you win big, you have to unlearn before you learn again. And that's just how it is, right? So I think that's why Draymond comments, they can feel hurtful to New York fans. It does hurt because it's true. The Knicks are talented. They're gutsy. They're New York through and through, but they're not contenders yet. They're still writing the blueprint. But here's the beauty. New York doesn't need to be champions right now to matter. They just need to compete because the fans, they're not delusional. They just want a team that cares, and this team does. We want players that get out there and fight. The Knicks haven't won a title since the 70s. Before some of their fans' parents were born. And yet, Madison Square Garden stays packed, vibrant, electric, because the city believes in hope. That's the Knicks' greatest weapon and their greatest curse. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. I had so much fun coming in here this morning with you guys and chatting about a variety of things. Let me know what you guys think. You know, where is it? The question that I had surrounding the Knicks, it was, are Draymond's comments, are they valid? Or is he just hating on the Knicks? I don't think it's hate. I think they are valid comments. I do think, here's what I also think. I think that if the Knicks went undefeated all season long, Draymond Green still would have said that they're not a contender, you know, and they would be a contender. The question would just be whether they were actually going to win in the finals, right? And so I think, will never believe in the Knicks. That's always going to be his hot take, no matter what. But I will say that I think that the Knicks are always on the cusp of becoming a contender. And that's really the issue with them. They're always right there. They're always one more piece. They're always this, if they just had that, if they just had this. And so they're never truly a contender because of that. But thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Share the video with your friends, your family. Let everybody know that you love Sports Tea, and hype the video. I saw this new little feature called Hype, and it looks like you can hype the video, and that's a way to get more people watching. So do me that favor, hype the video. You can hype it as many times. I think you can hype it up to 3 times. So give me 3 hypes per person. 3 times 60, that's however much, okay? It wasn't that great in math. You guys do the math. But that should help the video out a lot. So do me that favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and hype the video. Thank you guys so much, and have a happy Monday. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.